Welcome to Slay, the podcast where we dive into all aspects of female health, fitness, and life. I'm your host, Louise Hazel, and in today's episode, we're going to talk about perseverance. What would you do if you spent your whole life creating books only to have them banned? Would you give up? Would you write about something else? Or would you keep going? I don't know many women that have encountered and overcome numerous book bans to become one of the world's leading children's book authors. So if you're experiencing resistance or pushback in your career or life right now, then this episode is for you. Joining me today is my good friend and real-life fairy godmother. It's New York Times bestselling publisher and CEO of High Tree Publishing, Roda Ahmed. Rhoda!
Oh, thank you. You already started making me cry.
Isn't it weird when you hear like your accolades back and things that you've achieved? It's so weird, isn't it?
Yeah, it is really.
How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolute
this
pleasure.
Is amazing. I've been listening to you and having the gift of your friendship, and now it's like I'm visiting you at work. I'm like, okay, behave.
This isn't work. It would be work if we were doing squats. This
Okay,
is just
good.
all pleasure.
Okay, well, I'm really grateful to be here, and thank you for having me.
Oh, I love you so much. Rhoda, you're literally one of the sweetest people in the world. Like the sweetest people in the world. These are for those people out there that haven't had the pleasure of meeting Rhoda in person. Like you have such a huge impact, I think, on so many people's lives in so many ways. One of the things that stood out to me will forever be a beach walk that we took. She's always dragging me on these beach walks. And Rhoda will literally know everybody on the beach. She's like, hey, Shelley, how's your book coming on? Oh, hey, Rachel, you know you're going to write that book. Like you are a champion of people. Like where do you get that from? Like you are such a great cheerleader. Where does that come from?
Oh, thank you for that. I love people. I think I really love people and stories. And I have this thing where I never forget a face, which sometimes you can't use it for much. But then when you see a lot of faces, you're like, oh, and then if I see you again, I want to say hi or... and I come from a big family. So I think, I am one of 8 siblings.
8?
8.
How many girls and boys?
We're 3 girls and 5 boys, and I'm number 7.
Wow.
Yeah. So I also think it comes from that. So in my pecking order, like I really didn't need to do much, but we're very, I'm the quiet one in my family, by the way.
Really?
Yeah. I'm super quiet.
Wow.
I'm the very
This
quiet
makes
one.
no sense.
It makes no sense until you meet my siblings and you'll be like, oh, wow, you are quiet. Yeah.
So you were the quiet one. Would you say you were bookish as a child?
Yeah.
Like when did you start writing?
Well, so every Saturday, so we were so many kids. So every Saturday, my dad would take me to the library, and that was kind of like our alone time. And then he would have me pick out a book, read the book, tell him about the book throughout the week in order to go back. And then we would go back the next Saturday. And then we did this for like a few years. And then he asked me like, Rhoda, when you grow up, what do you want to do? What do you want to be when you grow up? And I was like, I really would love to write books and have my name with the book written on it. And then I kind of forgot about that dream. I studied anthropology, I traveled. And then when I wrote my first novel in Norway, and that book is in the same library me and my dad used to go. I know.
Do you think books and was your dad's love language to you?
I think so. I think it was also kind of an escape in the sense, because you get to just read. To be honest, it started off as like a way of not doing chores, because if you're reading, they left you alone. They're
That's
like, oh,
right.
she's reading, and then as an immigrant, education is very important for our family lineage. We come from Somalia and moved to Norway, and so it kind of was like, ooh, if I read, I don't need to do dishes. And then I actually start loving reading and liking reading and stories, and I could travel and I can see things, and I was just so curious. So
it was kind of like this gateway to the rest of the world.
it really was.
Now, you mentioned your first novel. Was that Forberedelsen?
Forberedelsen, it's in Norwegian.
How do I say it?
Forberedelsen.
Forberedelsen?
Yeah, it means the preparation.
That's
in
right.
English.
So this is a book that made the Norwegian bestseller. You wrote it in 2008.
Yeah.
And it made you the first African woman in Norway to ever write a Norwegian fiction novel.
Yeah.
Like, that is outrageous. It also became required reading in universities and schools in Norway. If that isn't Black excellence, I don't know what is. Like, come on, please, let's get a little high.
You're
What?
so sweet.
What? What, Rhoda?
I know.
When you were writing it, did you ever have like any idea of the amount of success and praise that it would receive back home in Norway?
Oh, wow. Girl, that's a really good question. I loved reading and writing, but I had no idea. But I somehow felt, because in Norway was this like, where is that novel? Like, where is that voice? And I had like a secret dream of like, I think it's this one. I gotta get to work. And I spent 6 years writing it. And then, yeah. So, but not in my wildest dreams. Even to this day, it's so nice. I get emails of like from Somali girls or Turkish girls or immigrant kids, and they're like, "Oh wow, it's like reading something that I would, I experienced that too," and it's meaningful. And I think what I love about books the most is they have a life of their own. Like you write something, you live with it, it's just yours, and then one day you're done, and then it belongs to someone else, and it lives in someone else's house, and it lives in someone else's life. And they have this thing where you can go anywhere, especially in America, any bookstore. You can go in and you can tell them like, "Hey, my name is Rhoda. If you have my book, I would love to sign it." And then you're allowed in, and you can like sign your book in any bookstore.
Oh my God, I didn't
Or
know
any
about
library.
this
And
secret
it's just
club.
so cool. It's like my favorite thing besides meeting the children.
It's a legacy. It's
Yeah.
like it's almost like the books are like living and breathing.
Yeah. And
So-
then having, written that before you had your own kids, and then your kids are old enough to start reading it and asking questions and
Did they have
participating in your like writing life. That's also a new
Did they have to read it as part of their education?
they go to school here.
Yeah.
So but yeah, I'm excited. But my nieces and nephews have read it.
That's
and
insane.
yeah, it is really, I don't want to get emotional and start crying on your podcast.
Do it.
No.
You're
but
proud.
It is really,
It's okay.
it is really special.
Yeah.
I'm going to say, I never take it for granted.
I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
So fast forward, like you wrote that book in 2008, right? Fast forward like 10 years later, and your most recent children's books, which we have here, May Among the Stars and Etta Extraordinaire, are getting banned in America in certain, school districts. Like, what does it feel like to be a celebrated author in one country, then to be having your books banned in another country?
Wow. Excuse me, Louise, what?
I want to know.
I
A girl
was
wants to know. Like,
Wow.
what a
girl.
dichotomy, right?
I know, right? It is a really special, weird feeling, to be honest, because in a way, what seems to be true for both is books are important,
Yes.
right? And they are always important in any country, in any language. It's a way out of life. Like knowledge is really, at the end of the day, everyone thinks like it's wealth and money and all of those things. But the ultimate power is knowledge, and keeping knowledge away from a certain group of people. So I feel, to begin with, I was like really disheartened and sad and angry and, it's not fair. But then a part of me is also like, oh, wow, it's because it's that important that you don't want to see a book about a little brown girl being an astronaut or having big dreams and achieving them. Because the backstory for May Among the Stars was when we came to America and I had my own kids, like Idil and Isaac were little. And I was working as a journalist for a Norwegian newspaper. And I read somewhere that a black woman went to space. And I was like, no, she didn't. Like,
Yeah.
everyone would know that.
Exactly, right?
So, and I started asking my friends and family, and I started looking for books, and I couldn't find it. And I was like, it can't be that hard. We read books every single night. I'm a writer,
Yeah.
I wrote the book. It didn't take long, took like a week or two. And I Googled illustrators on Google, and I knew how it was supposed to look in my head. And I found Stasia, which I've never met. And I emailed her and she emailed me back, and we did the book within a few months. And then once the book came out, it sold out within a week.
Wow.
And then they didn't reprint for another few weeks, and then it came out again, and it came out again. And the beauty of a book is you can't force its love, or it's like kind of like the only thing in art that does it, I feel, is music.
Yes.
Like you feel something.
A banger's a banger.
Right? It really gives you an emotion. You feel something. And I feel it was like my love for children and storytelling merged into one. So I was like, I really wanted to make something and write something that made you feel like, oh, I want to do big things. I want to do that because, you know, kids inherently are huge dreamers that are limitless.
Yes.
Right? And
absolutely.
I wanted to put that in book form. And then I wrote the book. I searched for Mae Jemison for years. We'd send out a book to any address of Mae Jemison in America. Couldn't find her. And then one day I woke up and I was like, oh, I just Googled her speaking engagement. So I found she was speaking in North Carolina. I bought a ticket. I brought my friend Jasmine with me. We went, we stood in line. And as I was standing in line, like this little girl tugged on me and she was holding my book. And she was like, excuse me, are you Miss Rhoda? And I was like, yes, I'm Miss Rhoda. I get emotional thinking about it because it was such a big moment. She's like, can you sign my book? So I signed her book. Then another one came and I signed that one. And then it was like a line of children with Mae's book, meeting Mae. And then by the time it was my turn to meet her, I was a mess. I was like snotty. I was crying. I was like, it's just not cute. But it just really felt like a full circle moment because she is a scientist, a doctor, an astronaut. And I feel she belongs in the history books, just as we know that a dog went to space. That should just be common knowledge.
100%.
Right?
Did she know about
She's
your
like,
book?
this book, I see it everywhere.
She did.
And I gave her a book with the card, and so she knew about the book. And
What was her reaction?
She was so kind and sweet, and I actually don't remember. I must have been like, I was just crying.
Did you black
I was
out?
Just almost just like snotting, and like it was not.
I'm
a cute
literally
one.
welling up hearing this story because you've taken somebody's story that could have just been missed and you put it back on the map, and back on the map for a generation that perhaps would have never have known, you know. And I think that that's one of the beautiful things about being an author. You get to kind of not just create, but also bring back things that perhaps were dormant and sleeping.
So that leads me to a question for you.
Oh gosh, here we go. I'm in the hot
your
seat.
Writing,
And
your book idea.
say that again. Sorry, what?
All of a sudden you can't hear.
I can't hear. Yeah, sorry. What?
I was thinking about like again, because of to your point, I really do. You know, I do believe in people have stories in them that needs to come out. So for the rest of the world and also for their ancestor to keep a little diary of like, oh, that was Louise, like that was. So have you thought about writing a book?
See, this is what Rhoda does.
I'm just asking. Because
This is what
these
Rhoda
podcasts are
does.
conversations. It's not
100%.
talking.
You know, as you were talking, do you know, just talking about the introduction to your first book and things that need to be said that are not being said, and there's information out there that is not being heard. You know, I think there's one thing about like my own personal journey and story, which, you know, I'll sit down and over a cup of coffee, and I don't drink coffee, but probably a cup of tea, and I'll tell anybody, you know, that's the easy
I love
part.
that story.
But I actually think the thing about me that I think I'm really here to do is to spread the information that's not making the mainstream with regards to women's health and fitness, hence this podcast, hence my existence. And I think that there's a certain privilege that I've been able to receive as an elite athlete that the average woman perhaps doesn't have access to. And so I still think that we're so misguided and miseducated about our bodies as women. And I hope to be able to spread that word, probably with your help as well, Rhoda, no doubt.
I love that. I love that. And a book is an add-on, you know, like your story is so inspiring. And I mean, your whole being is inspiring. So
Bless
I really
you.
do feel like Yeah, you see us.
Bless you, Rhoda. You're so sweet. But back to you. Why children's books?
Because I love children.
Yes, you do.
I really do.
You really do.
Wait.
For those people that don't know, and they're all going to find out, we're actually going to blow the lid off of this. Rhoda has like 18 godchildren. You're the godmother to like 18. How many kids?
16.
16. Got you.
Yeah, but I have 18 nieces and nephews.
Got you. 18 nieces and nephews, and she's godmother to 16 godchildren, none of which know about each other. They do now.
They do now.
And
they're
so,
super sweet.
where does that passion for children and where does that come from? Like, you are the mothership.
I love children. I really do feel connected to children. I really like is there anything better than when like a 2-year-old, a 5-year-old walks into the room and just like owns the world and they're just, the life force they have, it's so contagious.
Yeah. Do you know,
really is.
The thing that gets me is when like you have a toddler and they run up to you and choose you and give you that big
Don't
hug.
you feel so special?
So chosen.
I know, that's when you made it in life. You're like, they want me.
And then fast forward a few years later and they don't even recognize you.
Oh no.
It's brutal. It's like a dagger to the heart.
Oh no. Oh no.
Now, Rhoda, May Among the Stars and Etta Extraordinaire, they both feature really strong, determined female characters. Now, obviously that was intentional, right? But why is it so important to you to portray these types of characters in your books?
I think because there is a huge lack of diversity in children's books, and that's what I noticed, that it was, the stories that had brown children or Asian children or anyone else that wasn't blonde with blue eyes had like a different storyline than just, the ABC book and the Goodnight book and the and when my kids were coming of age, I noticed that huge gap and I was like, well, this needs to be filled. And then there are, of course, a lot of great ones as well, but I just felt like it was a calling to just try it out. I'll just make one. And then the real magic happened when I shared the book with children and I saw what happened you have to come for a book reading once. Like
Absolutely.
There's nothing more magical. And like, it's like a mini little Coachella concert for an hour. It's so much fun.
They're wild.
We're just having the best time. And at the same time, they're giving you energy and inspiration. You can see you're giving them something that they're going to take away. And if one of those things are, because the misconception about diversity is like it only has to be about race and skin color and struggle, and it doesn't.
Yeah.
Diversity is also sometimes something you don't see, like two moms and two dads, but I also want kids to grow up seeing brown characters as the lead.
Yes.
So I visited like hundreds of thousands of kids and private schools and Republican kids and Democrat, like it doesn't, for them to also see someone that looks like their friend in the lead.
Yes.
I think that it's a reflection of the world we live in. The world we live in it's not one or the other.
No.
Like we're from everywhere. Like
100%.
our friend groups are mixed. We're listening to the same music. We read the same books. And I really just want our children's book to reflect that. And our bookshelves as a parent, when you have children, that in your bookshelf, it's actually the parents buy the books for the kids, right? So I've been so fortunate that when you read a book of mine to your kids, like there's this little ancient ritual of like laying next to each other. As the kids will ask questions, you'll answer them. They'll ask you like, "What did you want to be when you grow up?" And like, "Oh, why do you think she said that?" Or I really do feel like kids teach us so much more if we're open to it. So I just love kids. I have a hard time talking to you as an adult. I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to burst into my baby voice.
I think there's a real, you're also opening up the dialogue for adults to have conversations about diversity with kids at an early age,
Yeah.
which I think is really beautiful thing. And also normalizing you know,
It
a
is so
range
normal.
of
It's so normal.
career choices, a range of skin colors, a
It's
range
so
of
normal.
genders,
We're not all
everything.
the same. None of us are the same.
Isn't
We're
that what
all-
makes us special, though?
We are so
extraordinary.
special. Extraordinary in our own way. And I really do feel that. And kids, they get it. They never ask, why is she brown? Why is her nose like that? Why is her hair? That's not
Yeah.
what they ask. Like, they ask about, why does she have a bunny? Or like, oh, I can't fall asleep sometimes either. Like, they connect on other things.
Yeah.
You know? So I really do feel like limitations and how we're supposed to be thinking about who is what in our society is something that comes from adults.
I was going to say
not inherent in a child.
they come from us.
Yeah.
Who is Etta? Is she inspired by someone that you know in real life?
She's inspired by my daughter, Idil.
Beautiful Adil.
Yeah, she was larger than life, and she loved these book series, and it always bothered me that none of them kind of looked like her. So when Charnay approached me about doing a book project together, and we sat down, we started talking, I was like, hey, what about if we, do it this way? And she also has a daughter, Madison, and I'm like, yeah, and we're in like 2024, and there's not a, brown girl character-driven series that she just happens to look like our daughters, but then she does what everyone else does too. So this one is the introduction called Etta Extraordinaire. And she just does anything ordinary in extraordinary ways. She's super fun. She loves glam and glitter and dress up and oversized shoes and stages. And, and our daughter, when she was little, she used to live in her own musical. I think she still does. I love the world she created for herself and who she is. And I'm proud of her as a woman today. But as a child, she would always like, Mom, why don't you have any fancy shoes? Like, you only have sneakers. And I was like, oh, I need heels. I really feel like she taught me how to be more feminine. And and then this year, Etta goes to the White House.
Oh.
I know. She goes there in September.
Yeah.
So that's what she does.
She's going this year, 2024?
Yeah.
Oh, amazing.
I know.
Oh, my God. I thought I was in the book then. I'm like, brilliant, amazing.
Yeah, Etta goes.
Congratulations.
No, the Etta, the book.
Oh, the Etta, the book.
Next book.
Oh, the next book.
Etta goes to the White House.
I'm so lost.
Book.
I don't know whether I'm in the book or the real world.
We would love to go to the White House.
I'm saying we take the book to the White House.
That
Let's
would
just
be
knock
awesome.
on the door. Let's go.
Awesome, but she's going regardless.
Brilliant. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it's
what
fun.
a freaking superstar. What message do you hope that readers take away from the book?
Etta?
Yeah.
Or just, I hope they see themselves and see how extraordinary they are. Because I really do believe we're living in extraordinary times.
Yes.
And these kids that are coming of age and our children are extraordinary. So I try to infuse every page with love and laughter and just something that I see you and I love you and you're extraordinary. And so are you. You're extraordinary. And as a child, you're still extraordinary.
Well,
Do you feel extraordinary?
Absolutely, every day, I
Good.
think. But also, as I was thinking about like tonight's podcast, I was like, wow, like what an incredible list of accolades. But also I thought about, knowing you as an adult, but also I'm like, I never had the pleasure of knowing you as like a little girl. And I'm like, Rhoda, you're so joyful, so gracious, but also so very brave. And I don't necessarily I think if most people were to describe you, brave wouldn't be at the forefront. But it is really it is a really courageous thing that you're doing and not doing that you've done in terms of like taking these stories, putting them out there for the whole world to read. But more importantly, I was like, Etta is also Rhoda. In all of these stories, I'm like, this is a little girl who is persevering, despite life's challenges, despite book bans, despite all of those things. Like, how do you think perseverance has served you in your life? Because I think of you as a very strong, woman, but I also see Rhoda's like little girl, and I'm like, who is she? Like, where does she come from? That little girl that's like, I'm doing it.
I have no idea. I think when you're number 7, you're
Really?
just like, they're like, no, you can't come. I'm like, I'm coming anyway. I really, thank you for that. But I really do feel, I don't like the word no. I always think if it's a no from someone, it's like, oh, okay, maybe from here, but I was going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
And I really don't know. I think it's my grandma. I think it's my late mom. I think it's the woman, the Somali woman in my lineage. But also in my lineage of family, I'm the first in a lot of things.
Go on.
So no one's like done, like my mom was illiterate, so she didn't know how to read and write. She didn't know how to drive, bicycle, like all those things. So there's a lot of like figuring it out on your own that I think is inherently in me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really interesting. Both of us sadly lost our mothers quite recently, and we've taken many a lovely beach walk in remembrance of them. And I
They're
think,
with us.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's something about a daughter who's lost a mother. I think, I don't know whether you feel this as well, but I also feel a duty to be able to live perhaps the life that they're no longer here to live.
100%.
And actually that there's, I feel like there's an element of them walking so that you can run. Did you ever feel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You put it so nicely, and you're going to make me cry.
You can cry, it's okay. You know?
It's like from one extreme to another.
You know, I genuinely think that...
But I really do believe in that too. And I think that's where, if it has a seed or maybe that's where the bravery comes from. Of like, they didn't have that privilege.
Yes.
So when you get like, even now, it was just like, oh, we're so sorry. We didn't pick we passed on your book for the book festival. And you're like, no, you didn't. You must have something like, are you sure?
Yeah.
And they'll be like, oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry, you can come. I'm like, oh yeah, I figured. Like, it's almost like a way of, you always have to vouch for yourself, because I feel at the end of the day, I'm just serving kids. So like, get me to the kids. Like, I know I belong. So you can try to ban, and you can try to, you know, exclude, and you can try all those things. But at the end of the day, it doesn't affect my soul, because I hang out with kids all day. Like,
Absolutely.
You should come see the futures of the world.
You can't stop them.
They're amazing. They're going to cure cancer, and they're going to invent flying cars, and they have access to the whole world's knowledge because of internet that we didn't have.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I really do feel like there's never been a better time. We live in like the greatest time of history. And you see these kids that are a product of it. You're just like, you cannot do anything but just be in awe of these little humans.
They've got no idea what's coming.
Oh my gosh.
So I was all up in your comment sections, like heart emojis, 3 heart emojis, 3 clap hands, dancing lady. I was like, yeah. You said, to the school boards that have banned my book, I'm thankful to you. Sometimes when you have extraordinary dreams, you confront extraordinary obstacles. Mic drop, my friends. Mic drop.
Yeah.
You know, that to me was like a beautiful message, beautifully put. Obviously, would expect that from you as an amazing author and writer. But it was like a message of like defiance. Like you said, I'm going to be here anyway. Like, you know, we're going to have to coexist. And that really just really hit home for me. But more importantly, like, is this the last battle you hope to be? Are there going to be more? Do you feel like this is going to continue? What do we need to do in order to support, you know, authors like you that are facing book bans with books that should be out there and should be shared? What do you need as authors? You know what I mean?
That's a really good question. Thank you for that. What do we need? I think we need more allies. So it's not like, oh, it sucks that it's banned. But, you know, anyone who lives in any city lives close to a school. And for those who don't know, not every school has a library. Not every teacher have funding to buy books for their students. So if there is one ask I have is maybe if you can afford it, buy a few books. Doesn't necessarily need to be mine, but buy a few books and just drop it off at a nearby school as a gift, because a book can live on for generations. Like one teacher can use one book and teach that same book and read it for as long as that one teacher is a teacher for their students. And kids love books. They really, everyone think like the YouTube and phones are going to take over, and but the stillness of a good story, and you never forget your favorite book or story from when you were a kid. You really don't. Like, you just remember it, and it becomes a small part of your memory.
You absolutely do.
Good Night Wiggly Toes. Eric's favorite book.
You were talking there, and I couldn't help but reach for this book. This is Good Night Wiggly Toes.
Yeah.
And, Eric and I, he was reading a little bit from online, and as you were saying, like the stillness, I have a little bit of a request from Eric. He actually was like, could you get Rhoda to just like read me a bedtime story? And he was like, he just thought the title was just so cute. Oh. And I actually was just reading some downstairs in the gym just a few moments before you walked in, or after you popped it on the desk. And I was like, this is basically me. I'm the girl with wriggly toes. But Rhoda, would you do me the honor of like just reading like the first 4 pages?
Then do you want me to read it how I normally read it?
Absolutely. Read it as if I'm a 4-year-old.
I would read it as you were a child.
Yeah.
So then what I like to do is for us to start, before I start reading, I like to do the reading game.
Okay.
So do you want to play the reading game
Absolutely.
with me? Okay, cool. So then I need you to sit up straight. Yeah. Usually we do this standing, but roll your shoulders back. Clap your hands once. Clap your hands twice. Wiggle your fingers. Shake your hands. Shake your hips. Stomp your feet. Freeze. Roll your neck. Roll your shoulders. Take a deep breath through your nose. Out through your mouth. In through your nose. Out through your mouth. So today I'm going to share with you a book called Good Night Wiggly Toes. And this book was written with my friend Leandra. And Leandra used to be my son Isaac's teacher in kindergarten. And every day they used to do this thing where she helped get the wiggles out of their body. So that's what we're going to do today. So are you ready, Louise?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I need you to roll your shoulders again. And then the day is over and it's time for bed. Time to go to bed, my love. But my toes are too wiggly. Oh, let's say good night, wiggly toes. Can you wiggle your toes?
Yeah.
Good night, wiggly toes. But, now my feet want to run. Let's say good night, running feet. But now my legs want to jump. Let's say good night, jumping legs. But wait, now my hip want to shake. Let's say good night, shaking hips. But now, my belly wants to dance. Oh, can we dance with our belly? Let's say good night, dancing belly. But now my heart is drumming loud. Let's say good night, drumming heart. And so the book goes. So it goes through all the different body parts, and then we go back, and then we do it quietly.
Oh my God,
it's
I want
really
more.
fun.
I want more. Have you got this exist? Have you done this in audio form?
Thank
heavens.
I did it with one of my goddaughters, actually, where she's the little girl.
Oh.
And Niall, her voice is so sweet.
Can you do it with Eric?
I will do it with Eric.
Oh
that
my
would be
God.
so fun.
Rhoda, that is brilliant.
That is really, and this was actually a good night book, and during COVID, I did Zoom readings for over 10,000 kids on Zoom. And little did I know it served an even deeper purpose, because the wiggles are also known as like the anxiety of like you're unease and you don't know why, and how can we make ourselves calm without spending money and without going anywhere, what can we do? And then eventually someone would say, use our breath. And then I'd be like, yeah.
Brilliant.
So
This is
that's
basically
Goodnight
my...
Wiggly Toe.
I love it. I love it.
I
love
love
it.
that you love this. Yeah.
I'm going to be reading that to Eric tonight. He's going to be
I
knocked
love
out
you.
by 8 p.m.
Literally knocks anyone. Usually adults that read it too. They say they're like, it's a really dangerous book to read because you might fall asleep.
Absolutely. I love it. That's incredible.
you.
And Rhoda, we're going to move on to a few little lifestyle questions.
Okay.
And then we're going to play a
I'm
game.
like, we haven't talked about workout at all.
So for
And
those
your
of you...
brutal squats and how you taught me how to run.
Absolutely.
We should tell people, you literally, I came to you and I was like, Louise, I'm from East Africa and we're supposed to be great runners and I'm the only Somali person who can't run.
My question is, are you going to enter the marathon? Because I think the reality of it is, we just had the LA marathon. Rhoda, are you going to do it?
For that.
Are you going to do it?
When? No,
I don't
you
know.
need to train me for that.
Like,
maybe we should put that on our list.
I think we should at least.
I would love, wouldn't that be cool that it
Yes.
ends up with you training me to the marathon?
Yeah.
And then
You help
I'll
me
do
write
that.
my
Okay,
book.
I'll
I think
do
we should
that.
at least do a 5K. Done, deal. Shake on it.
Shake on it. I'm done.
Okay.
Seriously.
Here first.
Yeah,
Rhoda's
I will-
running a 5K.
It's easy with you.
I love it. Yeah, no, I'm going to stand on the sidelines.
Did I say easy? I didn't mean easy. I take that back.
You said
I mean,
with you, and I
with
was
you.
like, no, I'll hold your water
Yeah, no,
bottle.
I'll do it. I'll do it.
I love it.
I'll do it. I'm up for the challenge.
So, Rhoda, what are your current daily rituals?
Of any rituals or
Exercise, fitness,
Oh.
lifestyle. Like, how do you like to start your day? What are the things that like get you going, keep you, calm and grounded?
Oh, I love that question. I wake up at 5 every morning.
Mm-hmm.
I meditate for 20 minutes. I have my lemon water. I read. I journal a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then I reply to the emails from the day before.
Mm-hmm.
And I think anyone who knows me knows that you will get an email eventually
Mm-hmm.
the next day.
24-hour turnaround.
Yeah, I'm not one of those people I'm not on my phone rapidly responding to anything urgent. Then you should text me if it's urgent. But I am like an old lady when it comes to email. I use it as a letter. So I'll check in the morning and reply. And then I'll write for a few hours. And then I will go do my hot yoga. And then come back and then go pick up my son. Then it's either basketball or dinner time, and then read again, homework, and then I'm in bed by 9.
Same.
So
Well, you're so regimented. But, one of the things I noticed actually about your house is that there's I haven't seen a television screen.
No.
Is there one?
yeah, there's one in the media room, and we watch TV only on the weekends.
Movies, right? You're more
Yeah.
movie,
Movies, yeah.
Cool, I
So,
love
but I really do believe in screen-free life and phone-free life. I mean, that's why everyone comes in the house.
Yes.
We have a cute little sign that says "No phones, no shoes."
It's not really a cute sign. It says, put your damn phones down.
I have a new one now. It has like decorated flowers on it, and it is really fun because for the kids when they got their phones or middle school, both of them, it was like, oh, they're really strict over at Idil's and Isaac's house. Like, oh, okay, but then the kids still come.
It's freedom.
Yeah.
Honestly,
and
I
also,
just...
I don't like people on their phones
Yeah.
when we're together. Few hours.
Sometimes when I leave your house, I just think about leaving the phone there. I'm like,
People come back to remember their phone from the basket. They're like, oh wait, I forgot my phone. Like, yeah.
I love it. Now, you recently did, I think it was last year, you did your yoga instructor course.
Yeah.
You did yoga teacher training.
I did.
How was it?
That was really amazing.
I loved that you threw yourself into that. I just loved it.
I
was like,
really was like, everyone thought I did it to be a teacher. I just did it to look good naked for the summer.
it was beautiful. It was
like-
so...
I
One
was
day,
like-
yeah, I
yeah.
felt like one day you were doing yoga, the next minute you were learning to teach yoga. But my question really is, are you going to join the team here at Slay?
Yeah, easy.
Would you ever teach a class?
Oh, I would love to teach a class.
Oh, I love that.
It was.
I can't wait.
It was really. I have the uttermost profound respect for my body. I really
Yes.
do feel it carried 2 humans.
Yes.
It's so strong.
Yeah.
And I'm really mindful because my mom, the last few years of her life, wasn't able to walk. So I really have if we knew how lucky we are every day with this body,
Yes.
like it's our temple. So I really do feel I was like, should I do? Oh, but that seemed hard. And I'm like, I mean, come on, you can do it. And it was so much fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it was, I love it.
You're
I
a
love
machine.
exercising and working out. Like, it's really like, it's like a dopamine.
Well, the other thing, talking of
You haven't
dopamine, the
done
other
with
thing
me
that
yet.
Rhoda loves to do, if you befriend her, is a dopamine dip.
Yes.
And she always literally texts me, what are you up to this weekend, Louise? Do you want to do a dopamine dip? Now, dopamine dip, for those of you that don't know, is a basically cold plunge into the sea.
In the ocean, yes.
And so I think it was New Year's. Was it New Year's when I saw you? I was like, I'll come and do a New Year's dopamine dip. But I'm not going in because I don't like the sea.
Yes.
But I will hold your
You don't
towel.
like the sea yet.
Yeah. But I will do one.
You did hold my towel.
Yeah. And I was
When
like,
you're ready.
yeah,
you'll try it.
I will do one with you. Definitely this year.
It is really amazing. It's like 5 espresso shots.
Is it?
Yeah. There's like 5 teacups.
I don't drink coffee,
Green
so I'll
tea.
take your word for it.
It's like, yeah.
Who are you dragging along to your next dopamine dip? Who's next on your hit list?
Anyone who wants to come.
The whole beach of Santa Monica is going to be flooded now.
There's no one. Everyone's
Shelley,
like, "You'll go."
Rachel, have you finished those books?
I love that. Now they're like, what is she doing? Oh, don't look.
I
We have
love
to go
it.
in. No, I love it. Again, because it was one of those things. It's like, oh, I don't do those things. And then my friend Libby was like, let's just try it. Like, you never know. And then she does cold plunges and morning walks. And I was like, you know what? You're right. I can't say I'm not one of those people, or I don't like it if I haven't tried it. I'll try it with you. And we did it together, and it was so freezing.
Yeah.
But it was also so much fun. And
Yeah.
it was like, again, just rewriting the narrative of like thinking as a kid of like, oh, I want to try that. Like, who says you can't except you?
100%.
No one.
There's
so
that.
you can't say, I don't like the ocean. The ocean is very big, covers like a lot of earth.
It absolutely
It's
does.
a big thing not to like.
Okay, I'll rephrase that. I don't like sharks. The ocean, I'm cool with. I don't mind water.
I don't like sharks either.
Yeah, I don't
but I
mind
mean,
cold
they live,
water.
that's their habitat.
Exactly. But not that I want to go like knocking on their front door.
Who's talking about shark? We're talking about a dopamine dip in,
Okay, I'll
in
go in
Malibu.
with you.
Like, it's literally
It's a deal. You've got me.
Okay, we'll
You've got
go.
me.
We'll go.
After reading me Wiggly Toes, I'll do anything for you.
I love
Literally.
you so much.
I love it. Rhoda, we're going to wrap up
Yeah.
with a little game called In and Out.
Okay.
I'm going to pick 9 topics,
Ooh.
and this is going to be quick fire. So don't think about it too much. Just, you're going to tell me, is this thing in? Do you love it? Or is it out? Do you hate it?
Oh, okay.
And I've tried to pick things that remind me of you. Silent discos.
Love in
In.
100%.
Excellent. Rhoda, basically for her birthday parties and everything, will drag you around to her house and give you these headphones. And it has 2 channels, one music on one side, one music on another, and everyone will just be dancing to themselves. It's hilarious. It's literally one of my favorite nights of the year. I love it. Let's keep those going. Pickles.
In.
In. Ugh. No, I like pickles.
You like pickles?
I do like
I like pickles.
Beach walks.
In.
Burner Boy.
In.
Hey, we went to...
that was epic, the Burna Boy concert.
It was really
Wasn't
good.
that fun?
It was so good.
I know.
He has a
the best.
different vibe,
Yeah.
wicked vibration.
Yeah, I think, did we get like secondhand high smoke from
Oh,
that
we
too?
definitely did.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, secondhand high. Yeah, absolutely. But I think his music was also extremely good. We weren't just high.
No.
We're not like, it was just so
No, we
good.
didn't. It was fantastic. Oh my gosh.
It was
Oh,
incredible.
what a great night.
Can't wait for our next concert. Book bans.
Out.
Out.
Boo. Boo.
Literacy.
In.
Running.
In.
In.
And
5K.
remember, a few years ago, I would say like, I'm not a runner.
Yes.
I don't run.
Yeah. And
I told
and
you, like, I have my, I don't know if it's appropriate to say on your
You
podcast.
can say whatever the hell you like, darling.
I can't say it. Like, I was just remember, I was like, I really think my butt has its own voice, because when I run, it's like, wait for me, wait for me, wait for me. You were like, Rhoda, that's not normal. I'm like, and now she loves running.
So
we run together.
We took your talking butt to the beach and we did some running.
And we did some running.
I love it. Pets.
Love.
Do you have pets at home?
No, we foster kittens, which is the best hack ever, because
get to
you
give
have
them
them
back.
for like 12, 14 weeks.
Yeah.
And then you give them to the second family.
Don't you get, oh, that's nice, they go to another family as opposed to like back to a home
No,
or whatever?
it's like a foster family system.
That's
and it's
cool.
amazing. Like it's called Kitten Rescue. I recommend it for everyone who wants to help.
I love it. I'm more of a dog girl. Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
Nature hikes.
Love.
Love. We've got to do another one soon, haven't
I
we?
would love that.
I love it. Rhoda, that concludes our episode today. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
You're one of my favorite humans in the whole wide world.
Oh, same.
I can't wait for the next 50 years.
50 longer. They're that.
No, I'm good.
50. No.
I'm good.
No. I love you. Thank you so much for having me. You're such an inspiration. And I love how we can talk about anything. I wonder about like my health, my body, my shoes, my bra, like anything in life. You're just right there. And
Always.
it's just so nice to have you as a role model and the privilege of having you as my friend. So
Always.
Thank you.
Love your late night text messages as to how to work your
My
Whoop strap.
So you got me all Whoop now. I'm all about data now. I'm like, no, I don't want Whoop to be upset with me. I have to go to bed. I've been in the green for a few weeks.
Go on, girl.
I'm so yeah.
I love it. I can't wait to see your stats.
Oh, I can't wait to show you. Such a nerd. I love you. Thank you.
Bless you. That concludes this episode of Slay. Rhoda once told me, in order to be the author of your own life, you must first be the one holding the pen. Stay tuned for more empowering discussions on female health, fitness, and life. You can follow me at Louise Hazel, and you can follow Rhoda at Rhoda World on social media. Make sure you pick up your copy of Etta Extraordinaire now. You can check out the Slay brand at Slay Athletic, and don't forget to subscribe to the Slay podcast and leave us a review if you haven't done so already on Spotify. You can get all of the tools and resources that are mentioned in our podcast on the Slay app, which you can download now for free from the App Store and join our online community.